and Florida's up 1-0. Fantastic.
It's over. Season series is over.
Welcome to another episode of Wrinkles in the Crease, where we take a look at the stories in hockey and iron out the details. I am your host, Zachary Morgan. I have with me, as always, my co-host, less than real deal, Trevor Neal. Trevor, what is going on?
Last episode, I said I was going to do healing, and it got worse. Continue.
Right. Okay. And then we've also got joining us again from Back Sports Page, we have Ryan Stern. Ryan, thank you for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing better than these series so far have been going.
Yeah.
I am more than one-sided, so.
That's good. That's good. The conference finals in both the NBA and NHL have not
Unreal.
been. It's pretty wild. Florida has put themselves in position to go ahead and take a 1-0 lead, and really, Trevor's right. They might sweep. But we'll see. Anthony Duclair with a goal from Carter Verhaeghe on the primary assist there. And Sasha Barkov, who is not heard enough because
who's not at a bar mitzvah. He finished up his bar mitzvah.
That was an all-time classic coach post-game press conference quote.
That it may have been my favorite post-game quote
please.
from a coach I've ever heard. Zach, you haven't heard this?
Oh, you didn't hear?
I didn't hear.
Oh, okay. Someone asked. So Barkov got hurt, right? And someone asked about the state of his injury, and Paul Maurice responded with, "He's just at a bar mitzvah. It's his neighbor's kid, and he doesn't want to disappoint all the kids, so he's missing this for a bar mitzvah."
And so then the reporter said, "Is it an upper bar mitzvah or a lower bar mitzvah?" And he goes, "It's a 2-floor bar mitzvah. There's a lot of kids there."
Oh wow, Sasha Barkov here for the kids and community. Gotta love it. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that the bar mitzvah was a great success, and he was able to make a return.
Paul Maurice, I hate having to play against his teams, but I would do anything to cheer for a Paul Maurice coach team. Anything. Yeah. He's just so in your face, Paul Maurice.
Paul Maurice is kind of the perfect coach for this team. And seeing as how we're on the topic, I guess we'll just go ahead and kind of reverse the order here, keep going with the Panthers. But yeah, no, Paul Maurice, he somehow fits the locker room for this team perfectly, and he's found the right guy to step up at the right time in Sergei Bobrovsky, who has been lights out, unreal. So far in today's game, he's seen 4 shots and turned them all aside. But add that on to his current shot total, so he stopped 136 of 139 shots throughout the series so far.
Has there been a goalie in recent memory to have a more dominating performance in the playoffs? Quick? Going back that far?
You have to put him
14 maybe.
Quick and 12 really carried the Kings there.
Because I don't think Bennington didn't do this. Bennington was great, but didn't do this.
Bennington was not this.
I'm trying to think like goalies who just stepped up to the plate and won a cup. Like Matt Murray didn't do anything close to this.
No, Matt Murray didn't do this. You really have to go back to guys.
Vazzy in 20, because you have to remember that was the bubble year. Stamkos wasn't there until the last game of this. Vazzy in 20 was pretty damn dominant.
Vazzy in 20 was pretty dominant, but I don't know if Vazzy in 20 matches Quick in 2012.
Probably not.
Really, this is a performance that we're seeing. If this is kept up, Bobrovsky could get his name mentioned among the likes of his postseason being compared to that of Jaguar. If he can pull the hardware, maybe one of the Brodeur seasons. He's having that good of a postseason. It's absurd. Yeah. He loses his stick, and he manages to slide across perfectly to make a beautiful blocker save.
He can't be beaten.
He can't be beaten, and he can't make a wrong move. It's incredible. No. And his movement's so sound.
Did you see the story about how much weight he loses during a game?
Yes.
It's like 20 pounds a game. Yeah.
I saw the picture. What was that after one of the games against Toronto? And show me the picture from after the 4 overtime game, please. That's what I want to
Yeah,
see.
he's probably he looks sick, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
He
Like
he looks like a cyclist during the Tour de France, just completely drained and so skinny around the limbs. It's insane.
He almost got hurt after the first 4 OT games. Did you see how his legs buckled in the celebration?
Not surprised.
Like
I'm not
it's
surprised.
amazing his legs are still working. Because he's
Unreal.
like mid to late 30s now, right? He's got to be
34.
34.
He's 34.
Yeah, he's 34, and
He's not playing like it.
34, and he's playing better than he did at the age of 31, 32, 33. You name it. This is the best.
This is the best
he's played with the
Bobrovsky's
Florida
ever
Panthers.
looked. He was never this good with Columbus, ever.
No,
He was
no,
good.
because even in
He was
2019,
elite.
My favorite Sergei Bobrovsky story is when he was with Columbus. I don't know if it was a troll for Root Sports or if someone just really didn't know how to spell his name, but he had come in to relieve a goalie. I don't know who it was, but he came in mid-game. And so they put his name and stats across the bottom of the screen, and it said Sergei Bubtitsky.
Ah, yes, I remember this. Yeah.
oh,
Root Sports.
Yeah.
yeah, someone
Iconic.
probably got fired for that.
Yeah.
I would
Deservedly
think.
so.
Yeah,
Deservedly
no, that's
so.
a very well deservedly so.
But I like the thing I love about the Panthers is yes, they did eliminate the Leafs, but has there been a more fun playoff run in recent memory?
No, and it doesn't get more fun. I don't know what it is. I love both Kachuk overtime celebrations on the road, where it's a quick little celly,
Iconic.
and then he's just rush off. You see it
Yeah.
in the NBA, where after the buzzer beater, player will just run right to the locker room. But it's really a lot harder to pull off in the NHL. That's about as well as you'll see it in Game 2, where he opens the door himself and just runs right out.
Yeah, both.
No,
of
he
you
gave the
are-
little "let's go."
Both of you
Yeah.
are too young to remember, but as a Giants fan, it reigns deeply in my head. The playoff game between the Rams and the Giants, and Flipper Anderson scores a game-winning touchdown in overtime and just keeps running right through the tunnel. And
Like Forrest Gump.
oh my god, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's-
Flipper
Matt
Anderson's
Tkachuk
a
is the
name that I
perfect
do not know.
Yeah, Zach, our every episode tradition of saying that Matthew Tkachuk should be the face of the NHL, insert it here.
Yeah,
He's him and Brady.
yeah, he's making a
There
really
it
good
is.
argument at this point. We mentioned the overtime celebrations. Matthew Tkachuk is the first player to have an overtime game-winning goal in games 1 and 2 of a playoff series since. Anyone want to guess what year? Without looking at the doc, because I've typed in the
I
doc.
just looked, so
I look too.
All right. Well, since 1951, with Rocket Richard was the guy. So
it's a good name to be on a list.
it's
list
a good
Yes.
name to be in the same breath as. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we were chatting a little bit before we hit record, and Trevor hit us with the weird that Florida might just fuck around and win a cup. And Ryan commented that it was the year after we all thought they would. And yeah, what that comes down to is the proof is kind of in the pudding here.
Yeah.
The addition of Matthew Tkachuk is the key move that was made in the offseason that's played a major role into how things have played out during the season and the postseason.
Yeah.
Matthew
And
Tkachuk
look
is
at
the difference.
Look at the down year that Jonathan Huberdeau had. If you replace Tkachuk with Huberdeau's production, they're not even close to being in the spot that they're in right now.
Not even close. And
This
you
is-
mentioned Huberdeau's production. He dropped, 60 points in his production from last year?
NHL
He was a
record.
115-point player last year, and he had 55 this year.
Yeah.
It was not...
Florida 100% looked at each other in the locker room after Game 5 against Boston and said, "Hey guys, I got an idea. It's gonna be really funny." And they just stopped losing.
Except
they've been
instead of saying those words, Matthew Tkachuk was like, remember this locker room, because we're going to be back here celebrating after we win Game 7. And he was right.
and they've
won't lose.
since they went down 3-1, they've lost one game.
Unreal.
And even
now
then,
they're up.
they should have won that one.
And now they're up 2-0. I'll give you one guess as to who scored the goal.
Carter Verhaeghe.
Matthew
Or
Tkachuk. Very good.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
Matthew Tkachuk.
It's always Carter Verhaeghe, man.
Yeah, on the power play.
Curse.
So, yikes. The Canes did go back with Freddie Anderson in net here, which I have to think that Ronta, despite playing really well, he only got that start because Anderson was just too worn.
Yeah.
Anderson is one of the most injury-prone goalies in the league.
Yeah, and when you
for him after playing 4 overtimes is rough.
Yeah. In Florida's case, after that, Bobrovsky, I'm sorry, you better be drinking water during that off day because there's no way there's just not a shot you go without Bobrovsky with the streak he's been on. You have to go back to Bobrovsky. I don't care that there were 4 overtimes. You have to just stick him up with prop him up there and make him stand there. He's the guy.
It has to be the most improbable run from a goalie that we've seen, especially because he wasn't even dressed in, I think, 2 of the first 3 games that Alex Lyon had played. He wasn't even dressed in 2 of them, I believe.
Let us take a look at that.
People have compared him to the Carey Price run in 2021. Carey Price didn't do this. And that was still Carey Price doing it. This came out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, Carey Price on that run was not Carey Price of lore. That was Carey Price.
No, it was just like, oh my gosh, he's an above average goalie again. Like, and that Montreal also ran into 3 teams that lost their first line center in the first game of the series. That should be talked about in that run. Did you see I think it was a tweet that was the Pittsburgh-Chicago game at the end of the year and how much it influenced? Because of Pittsburgh losing to Chicago, they missed the playoffs. Chicago falls into the spot that gets them Connor Bedard. Florida, if Pittsburgh wins, Florida misses the playoffs by 1 spot. And because of a former trade, Montreal lost out on having 2 picks in the top 15.
Yeah, there was a lot of
the 4 franchises were completely changed by that game. A Pittsburgh-Chicago game at the end of the year.
So I just want to let everyone know how broken Trevor has become. He's gone deep within the hockey analytics where you guys have seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I'm not, surprisingly. I'm sorry.
I've seen some episodes. I'm not a religious watcher.
Okay, well, if I bring up...
seems like he is.
I'm not that religious of a watcher, but I am familiar with this one specific thing where Charlie in the mailroom, I'm sure you're familiar with that meme. I'm just going to bring up a quick image of it real quick.
Zach, I've been very damaged by this year being a sports fan.
That's fine.
It's been rough. I really got my hopes up about the Leafs. They finally won a round and they broke my heart. My Penguins missed the playoffs. My New York Mets are making me sad again because I got excited over them.
Wait, why are you... Well, we're going to touch on that in a second, but here. This is the meme I'm referring to, if you're familiar.
Yes, this is what I look like. Yes.
This is Trevor right now as he describes to us how 4 different teams were altered by the Pittsburgh Penguins playing the Chicago Blackhawks in a game where neither team would make the playoffs because the Pittsburgh Penguins couldn't stop a puck.
Yeah.
That's what happened, right? The Penguins had to win that game, and they lost that game.
See, parts of my mind were like, Florida got to the second round. I'm like, Pittsburgh should be here. Pittsburgh would have beat Boston. Pittsburgh could have won the cup this year. Yeah. It's been mentally tough on me this year, man.
Yeah, you are broken, sir. You are more broken than I think. You're definitely more broken than Mark Stone's face, which is impressive, given what happened to Mark Stone's face.
Good Lord.
So,
Zach, you deserve an award for that.
That's A+ transition skills right there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. So, if you're somehow unfamiliar, which granted I shouldn't be talking as I was under a rock enough to not hear the bar mitzvah comment from Alex Barkov about Alex Barkov, which breaks my heart a little bit. But Jamie Benn on his first shift of Game 3 last night in the Stars.
They're already down 1-0. That is a key part of this. They're already
Stars down. Knights game. They're already down 1-0, having given up a quick goal to start the game.
70 seconds in.
And Jamie Benn decides, well, there's Mark Stone. There's the captain of the Golden Knights. So he takes him down, which is the penalty 1. And then while he's down, he decides to cross-check him right around the neck-ish area, neck face area, to which Mark Stone obviously took a few minutes to get up. And if you look at the replay, Mark Stone is completely defenseless. Jamie Benn cross-checked a defenseless player in the neck. And he was immediately assessed a game misconduct, and a 5-minute major was awarded to the Vegas Golden Knights, where they did eventually score on that power play. It took them, I think, 4.5 minutes to take advantage of that, but that power play made it 2-0, and from that point out, the game was cooked.
Yeah, and it was a bad goal that Ottinger let up on that power play, and then Ottinger didn't have it. He got pulled in the first.
And if I'm not mistaken, that goal, Dallas was threatening shorthanded. Got an opportunity from
Wyatt Johnston.
Wyatt Johnston, yes. And then the Knights immediately turned that around and put home the power play goal. Was it?
Yeah, no, that if Wyatt Johnson scores that, this Ben penalty is still a big conversation, but it's not Jamie Benn just threw their season away.
It's not Jamie Benn just killed the season. I agree.
Yeah, it's a shame. Is Dallas put together such an amazing season, and it got completely thrown away by 2 veterans making boneheaded decisions in back-to-back games? Did you see the Ryan Suter incident at the end of the game 2?
I did not see the Ryan Suter incident.
He turns, it's like with 2 minutes to go, he turns the puck over behind the net and then skates in front of the net where he just watches someone skate around him to tie it. It's one of the worst bits of hockey I've ever seen. And their season's thrown away because of 2 boneheaded decisions by veterans.
I'm going to be honest with you. That kind of sounds like a Ryan Suter play to have happen.
It's very much a Ryan Suter play. But okay, I've been defending Ryan Suter for most of the year, but that was a real bad Ryan. That was one where it made me go, the fans might be right about him.
His decision making has always made you desire more, we'll call it.
He'd be a real good third pairing guy if he just thought sometimes.
And it's funny because he's being paid to be a first liner, a first line defenseman.
Oh,
and
still?
He's just not that anymore.
He makes good money in Dallas, man.
I'm sure
he makes 4 or 5.
He makes good money. He signed that ridiculous deal with Minnesota along with Zach Parise.
Yeah, the one that caused a lockout.
I'm not denying that. Or do you mean to tell me that his current AAV is that of what a first line pairing guy should be? Because I was under the impression he was like a $4 million guy.
It's 365.
Still too much.
So I guess it's not terrible.
Yeah,
I guess
it is for what he is.
For what he's become. I mean, at the end of the day, Trevor's right. That is a third pairing defenseman because. What, you mean to tell me he's getting minutes above Miro Heiskanen? No, definitely not.
No. Colin Miller? No.
Colin Miller. Why am I drawing?
There's not
Alexiak.
one Stars defenseman I want getting less minutes. Alexiak's not with the Stars anymore, bud.
What the hell am I saying? I'm sorry. That's not
Hanley, Harley,
Lindell.
Lundqvist,
Excuse me.
Lindell all should be getting minutes.
Hakanpää. Well, is Hakanpää still hurt or no?
He was an option. I can't remember if he played or not, but he was an option going into last night.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a lap.
He's had a real rough playoff.
That's gonna bother me.
Yeah, but did you see the Jamie Benn post game was really the thing that pissed people off the most?
Yeah.
So he has 2 periods to cool down, almost 3 whole periods to calm down and figure out what he needs to say. Media goes on the path I've taken so many times. You go down the elevator, you walk down the event level, and they see Jamie Benn storming past to go to the parking lot and sit in his SUV.
You're the captain of the Dallas Stars. It's one thing if you're like, if Sean Avery were to go ahead and do that, and then
I knew that was the name you were going to go with.
What gave it away? I don't understand. But if he were to do that, where he goes ahead, There's a rule against this. You're distracting me while I'm on the power
That's a
play.
Sean Avery
Or,
rule.
I'm sorry, on the penalty
Yeah.
kill. You can't do that. You can't turn and face the goalie.
If a different player storms out of an availability, it's different. But it's your job. I say this all the time. I've seen him storm out of availabilities before after regular season losses. It's unacceptable.
He's the captain.
He just does this.
Right.
And did you see the Sagan quote is bad too? Jamie pissed off the entire team last night. It wasn't just the fans. Tyler said that the team lost the room last night. And there's only one person to blame for that.
Yep.
One.
Yeah.
Like there's just that added responsibility that comes along with being the captain of an NHL team. And doing something like that is just completely unacceptable. You have to hold yourself accountable.
Yes. No, he should have been the first person speaking.
Yep.
And it should have been a long-ass availability. When you do that, something that's stupid in a playoff game, you open yourself up to get grilled by the media. It's your job. You're a professional athlete now.
100%.
But the quote he had this morning was total chicken shit. I hated it more than what he said, or his lack of saying it yesterday. This is from Greg Wyshynski, but it's an exact quote. Obviously, didn't want to take a 5-minute penalty, but when the game happens fast, emotions are high. Obviously, I would have liked to not fall on him, and I guess I used my stick as the landing point. Chicken shit, Jamie. God. Chicken shit.
He got back up. He got back up. Like he doesn't fall. That's not a falling motion.
It down.
It's not a.
It's bad.
It's not a falling motion.
That's like Marty McSorley saying he was swatting at a fly.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, so he got 2 games. Is anyone saying that's harsh in the playoffs right now? No.
No, I'm surprised he didn't.
He probably should have got more. Here's the funny thing: is it rolls over if they get swept.
Oh yeah,
there is a solid chance Jamie Benn misses the Stars season opener and will miss salary because of it.
And I desperately hope that the NHL scheduling gods take one look at the Dallas Stars and say, you know what, home opener, first game of the season, let's go. How poetic would it be? How poetic?
Well, let's be real. There's a chance Jamie's not going to be a Dallas Star Cup then.
That is also true. That could be the last thing he did in a Dallas Stars uniform with this.
Which is a damn shame because he is. You could make the argument that he is in the same breath as Mike Modano in Stars lore. There's the hardware isn't there. That's the only difference.
What was he?
But Jamie's looked at like that.
I mean, well, you have to remember he's got an Art Ross, and I'm pretty sure he's got a weak
Art Ross, but he's got it.
A weak Art Ross, but it's his. He didn't get the Hart that year because that was the year that Price won the Hart. So there's some hardware there. Legend. He was a 5th-round draft pick that evolved into a top talent for the team.
And the reason why Price got the Hart is because of how weak the Art Ross was that year.
Well, we haven't seen an Art Ross winner fail to break 90 points in the season since, so there is that. Yeah. There is a lot of that.
What did Ben win that Art Ross with 87? It was rough.
87 or 86, and he was the second place was Tyler Sagan.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was not a fun. 1450 was an interesting year to be a hockey fan.
Okay. In your opinion, guys, is Jamie Benn the captain next year?
No. No. I mean,
how much time is left on his deal?
Too much. We've seen the precedent set before for even lesser offenses. We've seen captaincies taken away from guys like Dustin Brown, even guys like friggin' Joe Thornton have had the captaincy taken away from them. It's not good. It wouldn't be the first time, and it won't be the last.
And things you have a great captain lined up to take it from him.
Yeah, Miro.
You give it to Miro, or you give it to Joe, or give it to Pavelski.
Pavs, yeah.
Pavs is a great keep the seat.
Or even if you don't go a captain, go do the Miro, Pavelski, Sagan, and just It's led by committee. That could work in Dallas.
Let's go back for a minute, though, to what Ryan said really quick. Joe Thornton had his captaincy stripped immediately after in the training camp or right before training camp, the season after the Kings came back after the Sharks had a 3-0 lead on them in the first round. The Kings won 4 straight and then went on to win the Stanley Cup. Is what Jamie Benn did as egregious as the lack of leadership we saw in that 2014 series?
It's more.
It's worse.
So by that logic, you have to put the captaincy at minimum.
Because I think there was too much other veteran leadership on that Sharks team to solely place blame on Joe Thornton.
There are people talking that this will forever taint Jamie's legacy in Dallas. This one play. Like, there are people saying he might not get his number retired anymore. Like, it's that bad.
I mean, that's a whole lot of
his...
overreaction for 24 hours.
It's a whole lot of overreaction, but
there's already a lot of questions about him as a captain, though.
And we weren't in that building, but what you could tell, Ryan, when you were games 1 and or 2 in the first round, how quiet? It couldn't have been that quiet in Newark because there were still Rangers.
Yeah, a lot of Ranger fans.
If you looked at Devils fans, no one by game 2 in the third period, I wasn't making any noise. I was sitting there and I was contemplating every decision I made in my life. I've said that time and time again. Within the first 4 minutes of the game last night, the Dallas Stars
a preseason game.
There was no noise. Every single Dallas Stars fan was put into that same state that it seems like that I was in for game 2.
It was a preseason game, and then you have Ottinger getting pulled after that backhand goes top shelf on him to make it 3-0.
3 goals on 5 shots in 7 minutes.
Not his fault.
Done.
The second one was, but
he didn't look like he had the effort in there after the Benn penalty.
No,
man.
None of the team did. That's why I don't put on Ottinger. Is that
the air left the building in all the wrong ways after that cross check.
And I don't know if y'all saw this, but Dallas has come under some criticism for their pregame stuff. Hasn't been very good. So Dallas put in the time, the money to redo their stadium intro before this game, and they spent a few days hyping up this new light show and pyrotechnics, and then immediately following it, they give up a goal and Jamie gets kicked out. So, like, you had higher energy than usual and just gone. And the American Airlines Center is one of the rowdiest, loudest arenas in the league when the Stars are kicking ass. Yeah. It's gone. Like, game 4 is going to be quiet. Like, it might as well be a home game for Vegas. Like,
I wouldn't go that far. I still think that there's always hope in a fan until
it's over.
Until the 4th loss is over, and at the beginning of a game, there's always that expectation that you can go out there and win.
If Vegas scores first, it's a sweep, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If
100%.
Vegas scores first, or if the Stars within the first 5 minutes, at any point in the first 5-10 minutes of the game, look flat, even for just a second, they're done. So they have to come out with more energy.
They need to be playing like Florida is to win this single game.
Yes.
And they're not coming back. Vegas has looked good. What the thing is, like, we're talking about, on the contrary, though, we're talking about Dallas like they're dead. They've lost 2 games in overtime in this series. They've hung with them except for this game. Dallas could have won the first 2 pretty easily.
And that's just it. We could be having a completely different conversation. If game 3 goes the way of Dallas, this is a series. For all we know, Dallas can tie it up.
I think Dallas has the upper hand on. Yeah. But I like Dallas going into the American Airlines Center with a chance to tie up a series. I love their odds in that game.
But we're not seeing that. That's not what we're seeing.
No, they're
And
down.
if I'll be shocked if we're even close, if we're in that situation come Game 6, if there is Game 6, I'll be shocked if there is Game 6.
And
yeah,
it's crazy. I know that you had alluded to it earlier, Zach, but we're going into tonight. 14 games had been played in the conference finals between the NHL and the NBA. The team that won Game 1 is 14-1.
Yeah,
The only
in
loss
these series
last night in the NBA side of
it
things.
was 14.
Yeah.
They were 14-0.
Yeah. And
I want to know if that's ever happened before. The NBA and NHL conference finals all ended in sweeps.
Well, it
Insane
hasn't
year.
happened in the NHL, so
there you
Yeah.
go. Couldn't have
Yeah.
happened in both.
Yeah.
right.
But we will
But-
see. We could be witnessing history.
I hope so. I want to see Dallas come back. I think the odds are quite low.
Yeah,
Especially 'cause what's
I should clarify that it hasn't happened in the NHL since they went to the 8 teams per conference format. So
Yeah.
Well, that would be still fun to see.
right.
I think that was
What-
the history I was more referring to, Trevor. I don't know how else to tell
What's
you
not
that.
getting talked about though, the Stars also lost Donanoff in that game.
Yes.
Their second line is down to Johnston, and that's it.
By the end of that game, I'm glad you brought that up. By the end of that game, the Dallas Stars had 9 forwards available. They were down an entire
because Domi got
line.
kicked out at the end too.
Domi got a game misconduct at the end. Dadonov left with an injury, and it doesn't seem like
He's not
gonna
playing. He's not playing.
So
From what I've kind of got the vibe of around the Stars, there hasn't been a formal announcement yet, but I've kind of gotten the impression of people that were with the team today that he won't be there tomorrow.
Isn't playoff hockey so much fun? You have to judge injury
It's
reports by
brutal.
vibes. You get vibes are how you determine if it's
Vibes
bad
and
or
bar
not. Like,
mitzvahs.
oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
this sounded pretty optimistic. He was actually very close to the ice. He didn't skate, but he was very close to it. So that's
Yeah,
probably good.
he ate a slightly different breakfast this morning, so we're thinking he might not play tonight. It's the way that we work injuries right now.
It's beautiful.
What's the bigger story, Bob or Aiden Hill?
Bob,
just because of
It's
how
not close.
good Bob has been. If Bob's not this
Right,
good,
but-
Aiden Hill is the biggest.
But we've
story.
seen Bob play at elite, not at this level, but at elite levels in his career. Aiden Hill is still a relatively unknown goalie to the majority of hockey fans.
yeah.
Yes.
I can
He's
barely tell you
incredibly
who
unknown,
Aiden Hill
and-
is. Like,
Well, let me give you a little background.
I was
Glad
going to
you
say
asked.
Zach could.
So
he
Aiden Hill
backed up his horrible team.
So Aiden Hill was a 3rd-round pick in 2015 or 2017, and he's a guy who just kind of bounced around. He never really got an opportunity. He landed in Vegas. He was thrust into action due to goaltender injuries this year. Of course, you have Leonard, who was done for the year. We'll see if he even plays again.
doubt it. He's too busy farming snakes.
And
Call back. Go watch that episode, everyone.
please help me reset. Please help me reset. Please help me reset. Aiden Hill.
Robin Leonard. Yeah.
So Aiden Hill
Hill.
eventually lands in Vegas. He is thrust into action, and he plays well enough during the season, but he just doesn't have the experience. So he's mostly an AHL goaltender. Gets the call up after Laurent Brossoit goes down in the 1st round. Aiden Hill makes his first NHL appearance in 2 months.
Oh my God.
In 2 months. And he manages to come in, play well. And last night he pitched a shutout. So from 2 months of no action, or maybe some minor league action, to 7 playoff games so far, 6-1. No, not 6-1.
He's looked really good.
He has looked very good though. He has looked very.
He's
very good.
looked. Dallas has had a high-powered offense that just doesn't seem to be working right now. Did you see his quote after the game? Really good. Because he got nailed with popcorn coming out for the 3rd period, and he said afterwards, everything's hitting me tonight. God, what a quote. I love that guy.
So he was a 3rd-round pick in 2015, 76 overall for Arizona, and he bounced from Arizona to, where is it? Arizona to San Jose, and then he was traded to San Jose in August for a 4th-round pick. So far in the playoffs this year, he is, give me my hockey TV, good enough. Yeah, he's 6-1 in the playoffs so far with a 196 goals against and a 940 save percentage.
He's only played one game in the AHL too.
Yeah, so it's very. So I do think that he went 2 months without seeing game time at all. That is wild.
And in that game for Henderson, he only played 40 minutes. It's so.
No,
Wait, I'm sorry. Was that Mike Henderson?
He's kicking ass.
No, that's the AHL team.
Henderson's overnights.
Oh, excuse me. I'm thinking of Mike Hutchinson, who also, for all we know, could be somewhere in the Vegas system.
Michael Hutchinson. Don't bring back Michael Hutchinson on my mind, Zach. I'm already going through it mentally. The last thing I need is more reminders of Michael Hutchinson. Just bring up Garrett Sparks, Antoine Bibeau,
Sparky,
who was Peter Mrazek. Just bring them all up. Make me cry a little bit.
Sparky's
no, I'm not okay.
GGSU legend.
Well, why are you not okay? Just to finish up with Adin Hill, though, it's been very impressive what he's been able to do. When I saw him go in at first, I thought, oh, well, Vegas is done. So that has very much not been the case. He's been outstanding in the playoffs, and quite frankly, he might have played himself into a situation where he's around on the Vegas NHL roster next year.
Yep.
He should be. It's hard not to have him on there.
100%. But now, Trevor, let's go back to you for a minute because you're broken.
But I just real quickly before we dig deep into Trevor.
Yes, of course.
What's not being talked enough about this Vegas run is the complete flip and resurgence of Jonathan Marchessault. He didn't score at all in the Winnipeg series or in the first 2 games against Edmonton. Now he has 7 goals in his last, either 6 or 7 games.
Lethal.
When Jonathan Marchessault, when he is going well, that team goes well. It's been like that for a while. And it's going to be a fun Stanley Cup Finals for hockey fans because it's definitely not what the league was hoping for. Florida Vegas is not the draw that's
I think they cheer for Vegas.
But
they cheer for Vegas, but no one cheers for Florida.
But hockey fans are going to love this finals.
It might actually be an entertaining Stanley Cup final, which we're robbed of every single year.
We really are. And it's a final where either team could win it. And while we're on the Golden Knights, Marchessault has been very good. Mark Stone clearly still has it. Right. Jack Eichel is a first-line center. And not just a first-line center. Jack Eichel can be the top forward on a Stanley Cup.
He's capable of being the guy.
He is very capable of being the guy. And he's stepped up.
It's so good to see because he's been through hell.
I think he needed that series versus McDavid.
100%.
Because there's always the comparisons between the two of them.
Which
and for him to play as well as he did during that series had to have boosted his confidence.
It does. In that situation, I don't even think it really matters that McDavid had more points than him. The fact that his team moved on and McDavid's team didn't, I think that's enough. I think you're 100%
and he played
right.
well, and he was one of the reasons why they did move on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is currently in this game that does not matter because we are not live, but the Panthers are up 2-0. Trevor, we were talking about some goalies before that were bringing you great pain. All goalies, I think, that we were talking about during that that we brought up, I'm pretty sure they were all active with the team during the time in which Kyle Dubas was with the team. Is that correct?
Yes.
Kyle
Hutchinson maybe on the border.
Kyle Dubas.
Oh yeah, active with the team. I'm going off when he became GM.
Yep.
Then yes, all of them would have been familiar with former Maple Leafs general manager Kyle Dubas.
So, do you want to walk us through the timeline of how that happened, or do you want to let?
Yeah, sure. I would. So, also before I go to this, me and Zach both said the Leafs' number one priority.
I feel like the Michael Jackson popcorn meme right now.
Yeah. So me and Zach both said during last episode the Leafs' number one priority is bringing back Kyle Dubas because of how good he's been this year. Which I still full-heartedly believe Kyle Dubas did a great job managing the Leafs his entire tenure there. He did have some faults. Every general manager does, goaltending for us. But he did a great job filling in the gaps the Leafs needed. But they were hesitant to give him a contract extension because of the lack of any success nor joy that he's brought us in his so many years with the organization. And he was offered a contract extension in mid-March, it was. Right, Zach? It was mid-March for the contract extension?
Yes, mid-March was when Shanahan said he had seen enough and he was ready to bring on to extend Kyle
Dubas.
Yeah.
Bring on Doobie-Doo. Because he had done a great job at the trade deadline. He went out and got Ryan O'Reilly and Jake McCabe and Luke Shen and Noel Achari, who were all big pieces, and really won them a playoff series. Dubas said no, he wants to wait because it's a distraction, which is within his right. That's a complicated thing to be doing during the season.
It's very reasonable.
Yeah. They offered that contract again after Tampa, correct? After the win. And Dubas and Shanahan had a conversation that it was hard on Dubas's family. And he needed some time to think. And Shanahan respected that, and he said he understands it. We'll get back to how we discussed that at the press conference because I don't believe that's how he actually thought. But then we get to locker room clean out day, and every player was robotic and boring, as they always are. About we could have had them. We were good enough. We want to come back with this group of guys. Same bullshit they give us every year.
Standard Toronto hockey media stuff, yeah.
Yeah, where nothing is ever said in a Toronto media scrum. And then Kyle Dubas comes out and gives us the 15 minutes that changed the franchise, in which he essentially said, you don't need to go over the whole thing, but he is open to trading any of the core four. He is open to looking at a different head coach, and he is open to not being the Leafs GM anymore because he doesn't know if he wants to do it. And the entirety of Toronto just went, what the fuck? What do you mean? Been through all this and you might just not want to be here? And he does the whole, if I'm not in Toronto, I'm not going to be anywhere. Don't expect me to pop up in a week. We'll get back to that since it seems like he will.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah, we're going to put a pin in that. We'll get back to that. And so he kind of left Leafs fans in a bit of a panic, I think is a fair word for what the future of the team was going to look like. But at least he was honest. And then it comes out that he's just been relieved, or they agreed to part ways with general manager Kyle Dubas. I don't know how familiar y'all are with Leafs PR, but the decision of words of decided to part ways was very carefully picked.
Yep.
Turns out Shanahan just fired him, and for good reason.
Well, yeah, you're missing a few. You're missing a few key details in that timeline.
Oh no, I'm getting that's the Shanahan press conference where we learned everything after the Dubas firing.
You're going
storytelling.
Okay,
yeah. So the Dubas firing caught you off guard, right, Zach? You caught me off guard a little bit,
just a little bit, yes.
Yeah. And then Shanahan decides to do his little press conference at 3:00 on a Friday. Because you have to dump that kind of news before the weekend so people can sit and complain about it all the time. In which he basically goes over the last few days in which they met after the Tampa series and had that conversation about family, and that was fine. And then the press conference came up, and Shanahan watched that, and he said it raised a lot of questions about the Leafs organization. And if Kyle was really the right guy long-term. Shanahan said he slept on it. Comes back the next morning and is like, hey, I think me and Kyle need to talk here. And Kyle said they'll do all the talking through his agent, in which there was, I believe he said 2 days of no contact.
No contact whatsoever. Do not disturb is where Kyle Dubas put his phone.
Yeah, it's... Oh, and then Dubas's agent 2 days later sends back the counteroffer. So the number that he was offered by the Leafs was 4. I don't know the term, but it was $4 million. Also, they worked in, I don't know how this got leaked, access to the jet for ease of travel. I don't know why that became a key point in the negotiation.
Sure.
Dubas sent back after saying that he doesn't know if he wants to be the GM, as he wants $6 million in full autonomy of the team. That's a very large raise for a GM.
The full
that is a lot of money.
Though, I'm going to put another pin there.
Yeah, we'll get back to. There's a lot to unpack about this.
Yeah.
And then Dubas sends an email saying, "I'd like to be GM still." It's weird that was an email. I thought that was a little odd, but I don't know the inner workings of the organization. Shanahan drove to his office the next morning and told him he's not going to be back. Now, did the Leafs air out all of their dirty laundry and personal drama in front of the entire National Hockey League? Yeah. Should we be embarrassed, Zach?
Do you really want me to answer that question?
Yeah, I want you both to let me hear it. Are we the laughing stock more than normal? Because this is bad.
Ryan, I'm about to say no, but I'm also about to follow it up with the most entertaining thing about the offseason in all of sports is the drama that comes out in the offseason. And it's so great for the NBA and the NHL because it's like you have 9 months of everything being swept under the rug or things just being kind of overlooked and, whatever's going on. And then finally, one day in the offseason for each team, if there was a lot of drama, one day it all just hits like that and it all leaks. And Christmas came early for me this year with the Leafs because we're still in the playoffs and we got that. So I'm going to have to say no. No.
Have you ever seen a team implode like that, though?
No.
In 2 weeks, we went from it's over, the curse is broken, they can't make fun of us anymore, we're going to win the Stanley Cup, to, oh my God, we're about to trade Austin Matthews. That quickly.
Okay, well, first of all, the Austin Matthews thing, the trade possibilities have been on the table and talked about since the middle of the season. You've heard rumblings that they have to look into that. Since before the playoffs, that was something that you had to talk about.
Zach. Matthews and Dubas are run by the same management team. The Leafs are fucked.
Oh, you mean their agency?
They're represented by the same company.
Oh,
I think it's different agents, but they work under the same umbrella.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
Good. And
Not
they were
ideal.
buddy.
So, but in that context, in the context of from where they were having broken the curse to we're about to blow it all up, I haven't seen something quite like that. We have seen teams implode overnight, though. We have seen that.
If you're the Maple Leafs, and here's a true hypothetical. If you're the Maple Leafs and the Blackhawks say, we'll give you Bedard for Matthews. Do you do it?
Yes.
100%. You have no choice. And do you know why you do it?
Because
Kyle Dubas...
Matthews is not staying now.
I was watching a video, and I think it was by ECK on YouTube, where it may not have been him. It may have been Hockey Psychologist. It may have been Johnny Hockey. I'm likely thinking it was Johnny Hockey or Eck, where they described Kyle Dubas as having held Matthews' hand and walked him to unrestricted free agency with that 5-year bridge deal. This is Dubas' fault.
The best comparison that I saw to what Dubas did is essentially imagine going up to your boss at your regular day job and being like, hey, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, turning off your phone and then calling him back 2 days later and saying you want a 50% raise.
I saw that tweet. That was a fantastic tweet. Update, please. Thanks. And that's what he did. It didn't. And when you put it in that context, it really
Dubas should have been fired. They made the right decision. They made the right
100%.
decision of hiring Dubas.
100%.
What I think they screwed up, though, is that Brendan Shanahan was allowed to have that press conference. Because now, who the hell wants to be the GM underneath Shanahan now when he is not afraid to air their personal problems out?
It's still such it's a franchise with such lore, and if you're able to be the guy that turns that franchise around and wins that cup, you're going to be lauded for the rest of your life.
Ever.
Just like the way that Neil Smith, when he comes into the Garden, just still everybody absolutely loves him because he's the one who brought the cup to the Garden for the first time in 54 years.
But like, is the Leafs job a desirable job right now? Because it's obvious that Shanahan gets a lot more decision making than what most GMs would prefer. Zach, the Tage Thompson thing that you ruined me with before the recording.
Yes.
Carolina just tied it up.
Oh, wow. Good for them.
Oh, shit. Good for them.
But yes, going back to the full autonomy thing that Dubas had mentioned, allegedly the rift between Kyle Dubas and Brendan Shanahan is something that had been in the works, so to speak. It began in 2021 after Dubas had a deal in place to get Tage Thompson for a 5th round pick. And that deal was nixed by Brendan Shanahan.
The Leafs have nixed a lot of Kyle Dubas trades. I've heard that from a lot of different places. As soon as the Nick Foligno deal went south, no one's blaming Kyle Dubas for how that trade went. Couldn't have predicted he's going to have a severe back injury within 2 games. Shit happens. It's a contact sport. Right. After that, the Leafs held him on a very short leash, and I think it drove him nuts.
Okay, but while, yes, shit happens, at some point, you have to hold the bag when you made the decision there. Own it. It didn't work, and it didn't work in the worst possible way. Now, could you have seen that happening? No, but that's on
They
Dubas.
also held the Leafs back from, I think Dubas wanted Taylor Hall, and Brendan Shanahan told him he wasn't allowed to spend the extra whatever it was to get Hall over Foligno. Kyle Dubas did not have full autonomy over this team. Not even close.
Okay, well, are you going to use the fact that you described him as the best general manager in the league? And I look at the end result of him having control of the team for more or less 4 or 5 seasons, and I'm wildly unimpressed. He's got 4 deals that granted, COVID happened. That affected ultimately that affected how the salary cap was going to increase and fluctuate. I understand that. But now you're left with 4 deals that are pretty massive. 2 of them are unmovable. You cannot. There's no world you can convince me that you can move either the Tavares deal or the Marner deal, especially after Marner's no movement clause comes into effect.
They got until July 1st.
July 1st. There you go. So
the Kyle Dubas's biggest fault as GM is he signed 4 contracts being told the salary cap was going to go up. Then it didn't, and he refused to change his philosophy. He just kept his foot on the floor, which you can respect him for. But at some point, he needed to acknowledge one of these guys might need to go.
So by what measurement is he the most talented candidate available for any GM position?
I really like the style of GM that Kyle Dubas is. I really think is the future of the GM position. He is very analytics driven. He's ahead of the curve with a lot of things. He's great at drafting. You can't take that away from him. He's found some absolute
and everyone said that about Billy Bean in Major League Baseball.
We could end up with another. Yeah, we could end up with another Billy Bean. But I think he's going to do good things for the city, where he's obviously going to be a GM.
Now, obviously, the one big difference between whoever takes over as Toronto's GM and Billy Bean is you're never going to have an owner tell you not spend money.
Yeah. Yes. See, I can tell you who the next Leafs GM is, though. I can tell you right now who it's going to be. And get ready for Brandon Pridham to be announced as the GM. It's his job to take if he wants it. He was Kyle's assistant. Brendan Shanahan made it very clear that they were happy with what Kyle did as GM. I think Brandon Pridham's easier to bring into that situation. I don't think the Leafs are looking for a full rebuild. I think they like the philosophy that they're in. Whether Brandon Pridham is the best decision, I don't know. I like it, though. He was responsible for keeping the Leafs under the cap. That was his job. He made Kyle's trades and their numbers work. He also worked for the Central Registry for a while, and he was a big component on the CBA negotiations. The Leafs have informed the 31 other teams that Brandon Pridham will be acting general manager until a further announcement is made, but I really think it's just his job. I don't think anyone comes in externally. I saw someone say Ron Hextall, and I just pray that was a troll, because if Ron Hextall gets hired as the Leafs GM...
Because Brian Murphy of the Sporting News lists in his headline for potential candidates, you got Brad Treliving and I totally butchered that. Please kill me.
Brad Treliving.
Oh, then no, that wasn't so bad. And then Mark Bergevin. Oh, I got back just in time for that.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. The exact reaction you were hoping for out of saying those two words.
And the thing is, those aren't even the worst two names I've heard.
No, someone.
There's one name that scares me. There's one name, Zach, and I swear I might end my career in this industry if Peter Chiarelli is the next GM of the Leafs. I swear to God. I swear to God.
That's where you were going with this.
Oh, and then Mark Hunter is the one that really pisses me off. Do you know who Mark Hunter is? Are you familiar with him at all?
No, but I know no one signs KHL goalies to 3-year NHL contracts quite like Peter Chiarelli.
God, and that's such a Leafs thing to do. It would be like, let's take Nikita Zaitsev as a goalie. That's what that would be. Like, we've done the whole Russian free agent thing so many times. But Mark Hunter was the assistant general manager of the Leafs at one point under Lou Lamoriello. Him and Kyle worked side by side.
That's good.
Mark Hunter, we knew who made the decisions on all the draft picks. All of Kyle's influence picks did well, and all of Mark Hunter's picks sucked. Mark Hunter was, I'm going to pick the tallest guy in the draft and pick him as early as possible.
Good.
So the Leafs fired him after they chose Dubas, and he went on this long rant about how bad the Leafs are as an organization for no reason other than he doesn't like them. And there's people thinking that he has a legitimate chance at getting this job. If he gets hired as Dubas' replacement, fold the team. Move them to Houston. I don't give a shit. It's over.
Well, there's your headline.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
The Leafs move over Coyotes. It's actually the Toronto Maple Leafs moving to Houston. Zach, I'm not mentally okay.
No, I can tell you're not.
This has been rough, man. Like, how do I cheer for this team? Like, what am I supposed to look forward to next year? All the things that make us good may not be here.
That's your problem right now. You're looking way too far ahead. You need to be looking forward on like a day-to-day basis.
I should be. You know what they did yesterday? It got worse. Or the day before last, they fired the entire Marlies coaching staff.
That's great.
Offices for the Maple Leafs have been compared to a Game of Thrones episode, and players have anonymously said that they don't think Matthews is playing for them again.
This is going so well for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't know if anyone could have seen this coming.
I would have loved to blown that 3-1 lead to Tampa. Oh, it would have been fantastic. Anything other than this. Like, I would have rather than missed the playoffs. Because, what do we do now? Oh, man, I'm so excited to take this day by day, Zach. Oh, no one got fired today. Oh, I'm so happy.
I was about to say you could also look forward to the draft, but
With what draft picks?
I thought better of that.
That 28th overall pick is going to be the replacement for Austin Matthews. I'm telling you, man.
Hey, man,
we don't
you never
need
know
him anymore.
You never know. Somehow, some way, the Islanders turned the 13th overall pick into Alex Romanov? Where there's a will, there's a way. And do you know who engineered that trade? Trevor?
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Was it the old scary guy?
That's right, Lou Lamoriello. And he had out some former player with him who was just acting as his assistant GM. I don't know. I like to think that Lou would tap this player on the shoulder, and the name escapes me. I like to think he would tap him on the shoulder and say, "You go tell this guy this," and that is how Lou did.
Let's bring
trades
Mike Babcock back.
He's actually he is somehow a candidate in coaching jobs in the NHL.
You know, make him the GM of the Leafs because maybe we'll have structure again. Yeah. God, it's just like I don't.
You're gonna make him the GM of the Leafs right before Marner's no move clause comes into effect.
Yeah, I want Marner to be stuck with him.
Ryan, I don't. You got anything here?
This has just been enjoyable. Just
oh my god,
to watch the breakdown of a man on camera,
a grown human being just melt before your eyes.
If you are taking over the Leafs tomorrow, what are you doing first? First thing you do. No, let's make it easier. Let's say you take over on July 1st. What are you doing?
If I take over on July 1st, oh god, I'm not taking that job. Because if I'm taking over on July 1st, that means the draft is passed, and what I can do this year is now severely limited. Forget the actual draft itself. It's the trades that open up during the draft.
Okay.
Being able to trade during the draft.
You take over tomorrow. What are you doing?
I am calling whoever's keeping track of players and figuring out where the hell Austin Matthews is. If Austin Matthews is not on vacation, I am scheduling when he gets back from vacation a call to introduce myself. Maybe I'm even calling him and leaving a voicemail or something like that.
Or you're visiting on a vacation. You're going to be his bartender for the week.
Yeah, or even I am calling Austin Matthews and I am having a realistic conversation with him and possibly his agent and seeing what because we can hear rumors all we want, but until I talk to him.
He said he wants to be a Leaf, but I think that changed after.
Yeah, John Tavares said he wanted to be a Leaf at the deadline. Or no, an Islander at the deadline in 2019.
Yeah, he's not.
2018?
It's just. Yeah,
what happened? 2018, yeah.
Are we still in the. With how things have gone? Are we still in Austin Matthews gets blank check rights on his next contract if he picks his number and they sign it?
No. We haven't been there. We haven't been there since before the season started. Honest opinion.
After that 60-goal season, yeah.
Yeah.
If that number is in the 15s, are you just signing it?
No. I am not.
You think it's got to be under 15?
Yes, Austin Matthews does not have the power to demand $15 million. No. I'll say that.
He might now.
No,
he might be in the position to go to the Leafs and say, "I want 15. If not, I'm out." And then
he can do that.
That's how this might go down.
He can do that. I don't know if he gets 15. He might get 15 on the open market, but I just don't see it.
Now, are you keeping Marner if you're taking over? Where's Marner gone?
I'm seeing what I can do.
You could sweeten him up. I think you can trade Mitch. I think there's a market.
I'm trying to find a trade aside from sending him to New York. At least
are you mentioning the Panarin for Marner thing again? Because I swear to God, I just can't. I don't want Panarin.
Yeah,
What
he's saying is why that can't be why that's not the trade partner right there.
Yeah.
Like anytime an opposing fan is like, wait, you want to do what for what? Yes, sign me up.
Yes.
That's a problem. That is a problem. which is why these Jesper Bratt
Yeah.
for Connor Hellebuck deals where Winnipeg's like, yes, please. And then I'm thinking Corey Schneider, please don't do this, Corey Schneider.
Is Nylander? Do you bring him back?
Yeah, if you can. I mean,
Nylander might be the safest of the four.
Nylander's the safest of the four until Austin Matthews
shit.
puts his pen to contract. Put pen to paper.
Yes.
Once that happens, then you have to worry about salary cap constraints, and he's the first of those.
If only one of two of Matthews or Nylander re-signs on July 1st, If only one of them's staying, it's probably going to be Matthews. Or no, it's probably going to be Nylander, I think, if one of them stays.
Is it Nylander? Are both of these deals expiring? Because I'm under the impression that Nylander...
They're both have one more year and are eligible for extensions on July 1st. They are together. Mitch has one more after that. It's about to be a bad time.
Did Mitch Marner sign an 8-year deal?
7.
Kyle Dubas failed as the GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs in more ways than one. And the biggest ways are in the fact that you did not get Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews signed to 8-year deals. Granted, for both of those players, it was a different climate that we're seeing now. Because now you're seeing guys come right out of those entry-level deals signing 8-year deals. Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Tim Stützle.
It was only 6.
Yeah.
For Mitch.
Yeah, not being able to secure... Kyle Dubas failed the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it's all in the term length right there. So to answer your question, though, who's more likely to come back? My guess is Matthews, because...
Well, we know Tavares is staying. That's what we know.
Well, yeah, he's the only...
He's untradeable.
Yes. Yeah, no.
He's completely and totally untradeable.
Tavares is untradeable. If Marner's
not a bad player, though. Not a bad player to
have that's untradeable. I mean, there are other players that would...
There's much worse situations to be in. Morgan Riley will most likely be back. He wore his heart on his sleeve in those playoffs. Worked his ass off every game.
That's a guy who I really think should be captain of your team, but I digress at this point. I don't know. I think Matthews is more likely to be back at this point, but only because of what Nylander... What?
It's Austin Matthews?
No, more because the negotiations that William Nylander went through to get the deal he got.
Oh, he might be pissed now because he's very underpaid.
He's very underpaid, and now he's probably going to get hit with another line of needing to take some sort of pay cut for what his value would be on the open market so that they could fit Austin Matthews under the deal with his mammoth. William Nylander seems to be the most likely candidate to be gone unless they trade Matthews.
God, I can't believe we put ourselves in a situation. Like, it's just... I really think it's the end of that Leafs core. It's a damn shame.
It is a damn shame.
They're so freaking good.
Is it?
They were so talented. I think so.
No.
You think they're back?
No, we were saying, I asked if it was a shame.
Yes, it is a shame.
When you're not a fan, stop it. When you're not a fan of a team, you like watching things blow up and not work.
Oh, you like watching me blow up on camera?
No, maybe yes. I like watching you blow up on camera more than I like watching Leafs blow up.
With Ryan's leadership position in Backsports page, having me blow up on camera on a regular basis is probably good for the site, especially considering I'm blowing up talking about a large market team.
Well, we already. Yeah, you suggested that an original 6 team move to Houston. And not just any original 6 team, the one in Toronto.
The original 6 team.
So
the National Hockey League.
You know, where the Hockey Hall of Fame is.
What do you mean? We're moving that to Galveston, Texas. Put it on the beach. Oh, we're gonna put everything on a trailer and
Galveston,
drive down.
Texas.
Stop
is
trying to
my-
make where
my
you live in
favorite.
Texas less in the middle of nowhere. It's not going to happen.
No, Galveston's nice apparently.
You have-
Galveston's my favorite cruise port I've ever.
You have
sailed out of.
airport barns. You have airport barns where they store airplanes.
We only have a handful of those down the street from my house.
Anyway,
Zach, I'm allowed to pump my own gas, so you know what? Stay in your lane.
yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just appreciating the complete and total turn that we've taken in the past since our teams have been eliminated. Where I left game 5 screaming, "Give me Hellebuck or give me death." To I've now calmed down where it's like, yeah, fine, I'll take Hellebuck, but only if the Jets are willing to part with him for like next year's second round pick and a 4th this year, maybe. Because there's no a 30-year-old goaltender is a 30-year-old goaltender, and that's just what it is. He turned 30 on Friday, so yikes.
And I just feel worse every day. I get worse. It's gonna be a long off season.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a real long off season.
I'll be honest with you. I would be in shambles if they fired Tom Fitzgerald. If the Devils fired Tom Fitzgerald, I don't know how I would handle it. So
you know what sucks is that
he's not going anywhere.
No.
I ran into Kyle Dubas and wanted to say hello to him, but I was like, I'll see him next time. For some reason, my mind thought that. And man, do I feel stupid right now.
Well, it's okay because you mentioned to a city that he was seen in. I somehow think we went that entire length of time without mentioning that he met with he is
Sidney
allegedly
Crosby.
recently met with Sidney Crosby at the
No, it happened.
At the Pittsburgh practice.
It happened. Yep, up in Cranberry. Yeah, he's the GM of the Penguins. He's going to do a good job with the Penguins. Is he going to win a cup with them? No, because they have boat anchors for contracts on that team. But he might make them fun. They'll be a playoff team with Kyle Dubas.
It's funny. Pittsburgh just might be old Toronto.
Oh my god. How is Pittsburgh getting Kasperi Kapanen again? Kyle's gonna bring his boys back. Sheldon Keefe's gonna be the next coach of the Penguins.
Good. I hope.
Timeline.
I hope Sully's gone. I want him behind the bench in New York.
Timeline. Kyle Dubas eventually is offered a job by Pittsburgh Penguins to be their general manager. Austin Matthews swears up and down that he wants to be a Toronto Maple Leaf, but doesn't want the distraction of negotiating a contract before the season during a training camp. So they say, okay, fine, we'll revisit this during the season. The season happens. I want to be a Toronto Maple Leaf, but I don't want to. We can't do negotiations right now. Okay, fine. I want to be a Toronto Maple Leaf, but you have to get this goalie. That comes at the trade deadline around offseason. And then July 1st, Austin Matthews signs with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I'm a Pittsburgh fan. I'm cool with that. But is Kyle Dubas bringing Matt Murray to the Penguins?
No.
Enough with Matt
He
Murray.
might, man.
All right, we're moving on.
He might.
You need to go one whole podcast without saying the name Matt Murray because it does not happen.
You know,
last episode I said Matt Murray to Winnipeg. That was good.
Matt Murray is the reason that he bought a Jesper Bratt jersey.
It is.
He made a bet.
I do not own a Rangers.
So bad. He made a bet so bad that it didn't last a week into the regular season.
It lasted a game and a practice into the regular season.
It was beautiful.
It's our first episode.
And it was all on Matt Murray's shoulders.
There we go.
Yep. Oh, God.
I need a drink.
Is there anything else that we want to cover before we let Trevor go and find a therapist? Jesus.
I think we still have a little bit of time to get into till we get into the real coaching carousel.
I think so as well.
Yeah, it's gonna hit hard.
Ryan, while we've got you here, this is kind of one of the things I've been struggling to find out. Genuinely, who are some of the top candidates out there that you would like to see the Rangers at least interview?
So, I mean, the obvious names have to be Boudreaux. I know they've come out and said that Quenneville, if he's made eligible to come back, that he's not going to be part of the discussion. But
Good.
I think that he will be part of the discussion. I don't necessarily think he's the right candidate, but the two names that I keep hearing are names that not a lot of people know about outside of the real hockey fans. Spencer Carberry in Toronto, from Toronto, and Jay Leach in Seattle. From everyone that has been around Jay Leach, it's not a question of if he'll become a head coach, it's when he'll become a head coach. I don't necessarily think that the way that this team is comprised, that it is the right move to bring in someone with zero experience.
First of
probably not.
all, Jay Leach, former captain of the Albany Devils. Let's put some respect on that.
Oh my God, Zach.
Albany Devils or River Rats?
Devils. I checked because I knew the name, but I had to be sure because if it was the River Rats, that's even better. But no, it was the Devils.
I want to watch Ryan Stern go through a season of the New York Rangers coached by Mike Babcock.
No.
I want Alexis Lafreniere to have to make a list of all the players ranked on their work ethic so someone understands. Broken. That's true. That's true.
He
can't break them more than we... That's not Babcock.
No. Babcock's not the most nurturing of souls.
No, I think we saw, and obviously the Rangers rebuild happened a lot quicker than anyone could have imagined, and it really put Quinn at the forefront of, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah. I mean, well, Quinn was hired right out of Quinnipiac. No, not Quinnipiac. College, though.
Boston College?
Boston, yeah, college, because...
Yeah, Boston College or Boston University, one of those two.
Yeah, that, he did seem like, well, the Rangers also, their rebuild was more or less accelerated by the addition of Panarin. Yes, right. That put them more into, we need to get the wheels really spinning here.
Right, and the emergence of Adam Fox really said, okay, we're ready to take this to the next level.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Gallant looked like their games 1 and 2 of that series. Gallant looked like the much better coach. Lindy Ruff looked incompetent. And then by the end of that series, the roles were flipped. And I was a little bit shocked that they got rid of Gallant in the way they did, to be honest.
I wasn't. It seemed that was the writing on the wall. I think it was the right move bringing him in when they did. He was the right man to turn this team into a competitor. Obviously, looking at what he did with Vegas their inaugural season. But I'm not sure he's the type of guy who's going to bring a team to that next level.
That's fair. And you know what? You do have to give the Rangers credit. At least they didn't fire him and send him into a taxi immediately. I think the Panthers.
It kind of would have been funny if they did, though. They should have had the picture. They should have at least got the photo up.
Just for the bit of how Gallant has been fired in the past, where he's been on road trips, I feel like it would have been funnier, and I would have appreciated it. But no.
Oh yeah.
So he got fired after the New Jersey series, correct? There? Now I have not been to New York in a very long time. Is there a ferry that we could have gotten a picture of them sending him back?
Yeah, there's a ferry that runs between New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, the Panthers have retaken the lead.
Yeah.
So at that point, unless there's anything else, why don't we break from here and go enjoy this lovely third period?
Yeah.
Should be a great
Personally,
time.
I'm going straight to therapy. I'm skipping. I can't do more hockey. I'm going straight to therapy.
I mean, that's fair. I feel bad. I feel bad that we baited you into this chat room with the idea that we were just going to have a nice, painless hockey talk conversation.
I knew this episode was going to be rough because I was like kind of looking forward to like not having to talk about the Leafs in this episode because we got a lot of it out of the way last go around. But then everything happened and I was like, shit, I'm going to have to talk about this. And I'm going to get very like riled up on camera and be the source of a TikTok clip somewhere. Probably.
Yeah, the only thing Devils related I got for you is I've calmed down on my give me Hellebuck or give me death stance. And
now it's give me Hellebuck for a fourth. That is what it's calmed down to.
Yeah, no, it's calmed down to I might take Hellebuck, maybe. Like, I don't know.
If the deal's right.
If the deal's right. Like the Devils have their goalies of the future on in the system, I think, at this point.
Yeah, you're fine. You don't need them.
Yeah. I came across a guy who everyone's saying might be the Tomas Tatar replacement. He's got really nice abs. I don't know. That's my report.
Is that the? Oh, you've got a picture. Yeah, that's what we look for.
Let me see. Where's my Twitter? Here's my Twitter.
Where is this episode gone? Oh my god.
We're now looking through my likes to find a picture of an NHL player's abs. Yeah, so what's up?
But my Matt Murray thing's weird.
Nice abs are nice abs, man. I got.
That's true. That's art. Gotta appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's.
They deleted the clip. Oh no! That's
no.
That's something else. There was Devils related drama. There was something else.
You love Devils related drama.
We don't. Okay, I can't find the picture, but when I do, I will put it in here and I will send it to you both individually. Hold on, let's see.
And compare our reactions to it. Yeah.
I'm looking at an article from The Athletic, and it's like 2 weeks old now. And the first two names on their list are Laviolette and Babcock. Just
Yikes.
Blow my fucking brains out.
Well,
Peter Laviolette made it to a Stanley Cup final.
Did he?
He did. Nashville.
He did. He did.
Because I remember he
actually think maybe
on the broadcast.
Wasn't he the coach of the Flyers?
Laviolette coached the Canes when they won the Cup in 2006.
Oh, yeah. That is true. I forgot about that.
2 times Stanley Cup finalist.
I'm very lost in this Twitter search. I think I'm just.
This is all getting cut from the episode.
Here it is. I got him.
Yeah.
This is very broken. All right. Here we go.
Oh, that's. You know what?
Those are some ads.
That's a New Jersey. Who is this?
Arseny Gritsyuk. 5'9", 191 pounds.
That's a New Jersey Devil. That's a New Jersey Devil.
Yeah, and this guy who Shark Week's cool. He's a good dude. He's found our Tatar replacement. So that is
I see it.
I support it. If
I'm in.
I support it. Now, will they do interviews with media shirtless? Probably not, but
they should. They should.
But they should.
They should. We the Devil's media person. We can see if we can pull that off.
God help us all.
We can try.
God help us all. Okay, Ryan, before we let you go, is there anything else that you want to touch upon?
No, well, looking forward to the Zero Technique Football Podcast coming back in June. I already have a couple guests lined up throughout the football industry. Got a couple fantasy guys, got a couple guys in the media who I have already booked. So just looking forward to a new year of the Zero Technique Football Podcast.
Nice.
I'm
Well,
excited.
looking forward to seeing that as well. And there's going to be a lot of big things ahead for, I think, the Zero Technique Podcast, this podcast, and a lot of the things at Backsport page. But
Oh yeah, real big things coming.
Yes, looking forward to it.
We'll leave
Boys,
you a little treat. Yeah.
Boys, you're great. Love you guys.
Yes. Great
That's
episode,
right.
guys.
That's
All
right.
right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of these playoffs because they are going quick.